everyone, we're here at Central Printers and we're going to be talking to someone that works at Central today on laser printing. So come on in and we'll have a chat with her. Hi everyone, I'm sitting here with Teresa, a friend of mine from Central Printers in downtown Sudbury, and we had a couple of questions for her for the laser printing process. So let's move on. Teresa, in terms of laser printing quantity, what would be the threshold of when you would recommend a client to switch from laser printing to offset lithography or vice versa?
We have found that in doing the two, that it usually on a regular 8.5 by 11, let's paste it on that size, that around the 500 mark quantity, it does become more cost effective to do it on the press.
Okay.
And that's pretty much just clear right at that breaking point. So anything that would come in and somebody wanted something for 1,000, we would automatically put it on the press.
Okay, so 500 would more or less be the rule of thumb,
yeah,
per se.
Yeah, and then so if somebody was looking for something at 500, then we would look at timeline. If they need it tomorrow, it may be very, better idea to put it on the laser. Whereas if they have a little bit of time, it would still be more cost effective, likely on the press.
Okay, sounds good. In terms of image quality for laser printing as opposed to other processes, what do you think are the differences or the pros and cons of laser printing in terms of what you actually get out of it?
Today's laser printing, from what we have seen using various digital printers, it's awesome.
Okay.
It really does a great job, and Pressman might not like to agree with that, but the quality is excellent. As long as the equipment is properly tuned and properly serviced, there really is an advantage because there's no drying time involved. So that would be probably the biggest advantage. But the quality of it is really awesome. The colors are vibrant depending on what stock you use. You can, there's a lot of settings within a laser printer that you can set to bump up the quality of the gloss or the contrast and that. So it really is a good process for sure.
Okay, great. Why doesn't laser printing costs reduce when we do end up printing in bulk? Let's say if we wanted to print 1,000, but specifically on a laser printer because we need it in a hurry. Why is it still as expensive as if we were going to print it a 500 quantity job?
Okay, most digital printers or laser printers, they're all based on a laser technology. They have a certain lifespan, and the lifespan is not the same as a press. Press can do millions and millions and millions of copies. The components are much different than on a laser. So the life of these lasers, it's like a car, really. So it's measured in what you would call like an odometer, I guess.
Okay.
So every time you print something, takes a little bit of the lifespan off of that unit. So
almost like wear and tear.
Exactly. So you have to pay for that every time you do a print.
Okay.
So that's why every time you take a little bit of toner, you take a little bit of the fuser unit, a little bit of the belt, all of that is taken into consideration. So there's a cost for that. Whereas if you're looking at a press, these components are made to do this kind of high-end, high volume. So what you're paying for in that is really the pressman to set it up, to get to where the inks look properly in tune with what the person's looking for. So then really once it's set up, your cost is really just paper going through the press. And time for your pressman to watch it and make sure that it stays at that level that it's necessary. So it is it's a different process entirely, but that being said, is probably the easiest way to look at it. Is it's on a laser is like an odometer.
Okay.
So it needs to, and eventually it'll die much quicker than a press.
Right.
So in order to keep it up and keep it looking at the quality that you need, you have to keep replacing parts
Right.
in it. So that's
Okay.
where your cost is really.
Okay, makes sense. Also, in terms of setup time for a print job, how long does it actually take to prepare let's say a file that you get from a client for printing on laser printing as opposed to offset or another
And it is a
process?
PDF, let's say that it's
Yeah, let's say it's a
all ready to
PDF.
go. And oftentimes you run into less difficulties with that because your process is entirely different. As you know, when you go to an offset, you need to separate your file into the 4 process colors.
Right.
So that because it's going to be done with plates.
Mhm.
So that doesn't happen on a laser. It's all done at the same time, so you're not looking at the different plates. So it can sometimes be forgiving because you basically open it up. You can send it right from your Acrobat, Adobe Acrobat, or you can place it into a program like InDesign, and you can manipulate it a little bit better out of those programs. But you're basically sending it directly to a printer as you would with any other printer. So it's direct. Whereas the other is much more involved. You have to make sure that it does separate properly into the 4 process colors before you can actually send it off to what we call plates and get the plates done. And then, of course, then it has to go on the press. So there's a lot more involved.
Right.
A lot more involved, yeah.
Okay. In terms of preparing files for laser printing, are there any specific ways or things that you would need to keep an eye out for before, or certain ways that your client could prepare the file so that you don't have to check as many things before sending something to print?
Well, as I said, in my opinion, going to a laser printer is a little bit more forgiving because the color's all done at once, and there are settings that you can convert things to CMYK right on the fly, right through to the printer.
Yep.
But basically, when you're building a job, is to making sure that you convert images, photographs, and that to CMYK right within Photoshop if you're importing them into another application like InDesign. So converting that will help the flow of the final product be more precise as far as those values, whereas it's not making software do it for you, in between a PDF and a printer driver. So that would be a big thing to convert those and do your color, you're doing color calibration and that of those pictures to do them in CMYK.
Okay.
And then also making sure you flatten layers when you're building something and making sure that that's something that you do in your final steps before PDFing. Those are the kind of things that I think we really hope for. That it's
Right.